Benton County, they did something else too, but it wasn't safe to drive the bus back. We had to wait for a Benton County bus to come and a driver to drive us back to the school.
I bet it was the foreman of my jury.
Probably, that's why I said it.
Sorry.
All right, we are.
Are we good? Are we early on time?
We're on.
I don't know, I can't.
That's all.
We're good?
We're good.
All
Figure it
right.
out.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're getting back
Well, welcome to January 10th, 2022, our regular meeting of the Washington County Board of Election. And I think we're being joined by folks that have connected to our Zoom system, et cetera. We have a member of our crew as well as the public present. Was there anything you wanted to say?
Not particularly, I'll just add to the conversation when we get around to the locations that we visited, which were good. I'm just impressed.
Very good. I think we have a set of minutes. They're fairly short.
We didn't talk much last night.
Well, we had a very limited
Yes.
Yeah, agenda.
agenda.
They look okay to me.
Second it.
Any further discussion? Hearing
Formal
none.
motion?
All in favor?
All right.
Let me see if I can make this thing quit making noise. I think probably we ought to take an item out of order.
Oh, I saw
I
that.
received on January 4 via my email a letter that has arrived stamped January 10 from Glenn Ray, who has indicated that he is retiring effective February 1, 2022. And he had also, I think, contacted folks and indicated that he would not be at today's meeting. When I spoke to him prior to the receipt of this, he had indicated that he was not attending or had no plans to attend the upcoming conference. So I don't know if that had been forwarded.
Yeah, I already
Taken care
canceled
of.
these rooms.
There you
And we have a credit,
Right.
they don't do refunds, so we have a credit for next year's.
For what we paid the association.
Right, right. Not a problem. No problem. Again, this is the original. If anyone wants to take a look, I had mine copied in anticipation, but I wasn't sure it hadn't arrived when I last spoke with folks.
Yeah, and this came, what would have came on Saturday.
Right.
So,
All right, so we have bills. Oh, and I'll start signing this.
okay.
Nadine was quietly looking at me like, you're not gonna put that away.
And here was the bills, whatever you want to sign, I mean.
Right. They're sort of modest this time, that's always good.
Yeah.
I don't think we owe WLMA $203. I think it's just
I
the
thought that's what
101.
the,
I already gave her $10 for her.
okay, I think that's what was on the
Oh, was it?
voucher was why I.
I need to look at it again then. It should be only the general pay of 101.50. We missed a poll worker.
Oh, it was in one place, it says it in, yeah, so we'll just need to change it.
Okay, so that,
What were you
the
saying?
correction to the bills is 101.50
For Debbie Lindley.
Right.
I make
So
a
that's what
motion
it
to pay the
is.
bills as presented with the correction of 101.52, the Debbie Lindley.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Now we're up to correspondence, Mandy?
Yeah, and we do have, there's an addition to that too. I gave you all a copy of, we got an advisory. It came on Friday after we left. Advisory 2022-01, which was an Ohio Attorney General opinion. I haven't even got a chance to read over that because I just saw.
Does that have to do with sort of the question that we had about churches?
Yeah,
Cetera,
I
the
think so.
definition.
Yeah, non-governmental entity, I sent this to you, we
Yeah.
had gotten, I know we got one.
I read
I had a thing from
the,
Aaron Ackerman. I think,
Yeah, we had a thing from
before.
Aaron, so I
From-
forwarded that on to you board members.
yeah, but he attached to it was the opinion.
Yes.
And then the other correspondence is, the directive for the statewide petitions we've had for the adult, use of cannabis. So that was covered, our review of those. And then we got the 2021 annual expense report of the board, which is due by March 1st to the Secretary of State's office. So we'll start preparing that soon. That was all of our expenses for last year.
Thought I read that the marijuana petition was a no-go because they didn't have enough signatures.
Yeah, they were lacked about just over 13,000 signatures, if I remember right, but they would get 10 days from the date they're notified that they didn't have enough signatures to collect more. So potentially, I think it's by like the 13th or something, we might get more petitions. Or at least some counties,
Right.
like if they collect enough.
Okay. All right, I guess this is, well, business, obviously it is the beginning of our budget.
Yeah, so I have a copy, it's two-sided, there's one for one side's January, so that's our new budget for this year. And then just so you could see the December 21, that was what we had ended with.
So we definitely ended in the black.
Yep.
We're-
And so our total budget is pretty similar for this year from the last total was.
Right.
A few of the categories, are a little different, the amounts in each, line item,
Mhm.
but overall it was about the same amount of money.
Good.
So I think everything looks good.
So do we carry the balance forward?
Yeah, it goes into the county general fund.
So we can report that we are returning to the county 105.
Yep, it would be, from that, I checked the numbers with the auditor's office.
Right.
That would have been a good amount if we could have started that fund,
Oh, yeah, if you had an equipment fund.
Of course, that was, we was talking about using.
Well, I really
Payback,
think chargebacks,
not payback,
yeah.
Yeah,
The chargebacks, yeah.
chargebacks instead, but that's a pretty good
So we
amount.
can put the chargebacks into an account and you can.
Yeah.
Well, only if the county commissioners were to approve it.
Okay.
And we've never
Discussed
really
it
asked
a
them.
number of times, but never got an approval on it.
And actually.
Well, we might want to consider that.
To approve them, and I didn't bring it in.
Now, there is an upgrade, I understand, for our equipment, the voting equipment. I don't know if it's the Freedom Vote or the other, one of them. So there's an upgrade coming with that, but Ryan was telling me prior to the election, when he was here, I said, how often do you think we'll have to, get new election equipment? He said, probably within the next 5 years.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well,
So,
we're always told it's hard to get by 10 years. Partly, of course, they have us in a bit of a pickle because if they don't make the equipment to replace, then when it goes, the only way we can do it is to rob our own equipment, which of course we did with the M100s. We kept reducing our locations in part so that we had parts because, ES&S had long since quit making parts for the M100. So we had a number of pieces of equipment that were missing, one of these, one of those, et cetera, trying to,
Did Ryan tell you when they were gonna start the upgrade?
I think it was right at the end of the month when they were thinking of coming. They didn't give us the final date. It was right around January 31st.
Of course, we'll see them all this week.
Yeah, we'll see them at the conference. But it was, that upgrade had just got approved by the Board of Voting Machine Examiners. And I think it was in December.
right,
And there should be an upgrade too for our poll books. It's like just a new version of the software for it. So, yeah, take time and pass it.
Well, I hope that
Oh, actually, it should be.
knowing
I don't
this,
think
they're
it's
next
it,
week,
right?
this week.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling Franklin County and us would like to talk to them. I'd like to know why those didn't update in here and then.
You need this signature. Maybe in,
I'm not sure what happened.
yeah, something with the copy in there. But there should be, I think
This
it's 4
one's-
pages, so.
Yeah, there should be 4 pages, a loose one,
But they guys missing a page.
I got 4.
that's up front. Maybe you already have, maybe it's paper, so you're good, okay.
Maybe we just had an extra page 1 or something.
Well, I know, this one here only
It
has
starts
3.
with 2,
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway, all right. So this tells us about this year's,
This was from the November, last year, the November 2nd, 2021 general election charge balance.
so the total was 30,000 and change.
And then I'll need to change the date.
And that's
on there.
what comes back to us.
It
Well,
goes, no, it goes into the
Goes to the
general.
general fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that included in the 105?
No, it's not included in that. Because we don't actually get any of this money into our budget,
Right.
so it's not included in there. And,
Yeah, so technically you can add, as far as money going to the general fund, we had
Well,
this
yeah, you could
amount
add
plus
that, plus
our
that,
105 and change.
yeah.
Except this doesn't really come from us.
No,
Right.
no, we sort of, we're just a pass through.
Stewards.
Yeah, and then the auditor's office will, take this information and they save that money from any money that the townships or anybody gets, they, keep that tax money, basically.
Mhm.
Or potentially bill them, I'm not sure for the schools how they do it, but.
Well, I know that at some point it comes out of budgets, because a number of times we've had schools, telling us they're weighing, the option
Right,
of,
of
do we
when to
run
put it.
one in August or do we go in a general?
And, speaking of schools, we did have Belgrade City Schools turned in a bond issue. It'll be on the May ballot. So I didn't have that here because, we don't have the ballot language yet back from the Secretary of State or anything.
Right.
Actually, I'll probably just send it to them today because it just came in on Friday.
So do you need a motion for the chargeback?
Yes, to approve them.
I'll make a motion that we approve the chargeback of 30,000,
605.
604.52.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
And then I'll have everybody sign. I changed the date on this one, maybe it had them wrong.
You want a last page signature? or-
Yeah, there's some
Oh,
lines
I
on
guess
there.
so. Yeah. Okay, and obviously, being notified that as a county employee, you folks got a 3% increase.
Yes, and there should be a little copy of the
Little-
spreadsheet that'll show you, what all we were making, and then what the 3% would add, and then the new hourly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a letter here that will, need to send to the auditor's office.
But you all as well are getting a raise.
I bet it's a big one too.
I figured you up the other day,
Up
but
to
3%.
not quite $10.
yeah,
Said it was a big one.
yeah. Yeah, no, they don't get the 3%.
It's better than my social security.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, theirs comes out to a 1.75%,
1.75.
Oh, yeah, it was a whopper.
so.
You're
Phenomenal.
doing better than we are, Ted. The COLA was 5.4 this year.
That is
Really?
true.
Was it really? Daggone.
But look what they took. They took Medicare, Medicaid. They went up.
The gas is more expensive.
So
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
Your
just
COLA's
this.
better.
Yeah, so that'd be our total for the year,
Right,
and the
and
one
then,
corner there.
then the other, what we gave is that in that like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
number?
for Melissa and Emily.
Yeah, because you up their hourly.
Right, to be sure, yeah. So I'm just saying, this is the number. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, we approved chargebacks. Yeah, polling locations, I think we,
Now, that discussion's gonna take a little longer. Do we wanna talk about the,
oh,
Yeah, let's talk about Jed's
I saw that, where here.
investigation.
The Westfall,
Yes.
yeah.
Did everybody got the new,
We have the Westfall one, but we don't have the other one.
you don't have the others?
remind us what Murray's was?
6,000 something.
So we're not
I can
right
make
direction.
copies.
Actually, the numbers, where the start is at the last estimate. And I think the better breakdown.
Okay, do you have the Murray's?
Mhm.
I'll make copies of it as well, so they can see all three.
And then I don't know if you wanna go, do a vote on the pay for the raise. To
We have
approve
to,
us. Did we do that?
we did that already.
Didn't we approve that last meeting?
Oh, okay,
Yeah. For our raise.
for the,
We don't have to do it for the,
We don't do it for the
Oh,
county.
we have to approve the 3% on top of it?
Wouldn't think so.
I think we
That's
always
countywide.
have,
I mean, cause,
just to say that you approve us to take it.
Oh, wouldn't hurt.
well, all right, can't hurt.
Yeah.
If I could have a motion to approve the county's raise.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 3% raise that the county commissioner has given to all employees.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Because usually the auditor's office wants a copy.
Well, no,
beside the
technically,
insurance.
you're actually right, because we are a separate
Yeah,
entity,
that's
that
true.
little separate entity, so the auditor, and I suspect the state auditor, if they come and check, are looking for our approval on that kind of
And then
stuff.
I'll have you sign it. That's the amount,
Mhm.
because this is what you'd already raised there.
Right,
Pay up to, was the 15.
excellent.
Yep.
Thank
These are the
you.
other two estimates. Now, should we share these with the church or
No.
no? Okay, so this is who we're picking and c'est la vie.
Well, we're fixing their door, that's all that matters to
That's
them.
right.
Yeah,
Should,
Okay.
I mean,
As long as we fix it correctly.
My original?
I got your original.
Just like I need them back.
You need copies?
That's all right, I'll get it from Andy. So
Yeah,
this,
the real shame of that
Say
is
what
those
we don't
doors
make
we're
you-
gonna have to, those doors were gonna have to be replaced pretty soon.
Well,
They had dropped
yeah.
at the bottom.
it was divine intervention, I'm
Yes, it
sure.
was. No mistake about
The church is
They're gonna make
giving
out-
accolades to the
they're gonna make out on this one.
Lord.
kind of question the liability of the insurance company, you know, if they're not gonna protect us against property damage,
Yeah,
what recourse do we have?
I don't. That would be our lawyer's decision to explain it to us all.
Well, Nicole doesn't seem to be real interested in pursuing that. I think that's wrong.
So what would this money come out of?
We would probably take it out of maybe like our contract services
That's what
or,
I'm thinking.
yeah,
Okay.
It's about as close as.
yeah, about as close as it would.
I do know
And
that.
I mean, we have
It's
other
certainly our
expenses, I
biggest-
guess, but
It's our
yeah,
biggest
it's our biggest
chunk of.
besides salary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you understand, Jed, on the DMD, that does not include new exit devices and closers or lock set, you know what they're talking about there?
Yeah, they'll just use the existing ones. That's what Steve was gonna do, Steve Westfall. He said he would just use the existing closers.
Because that's
There's
like
really
what's
nothing
on
wrong with it.
Oh, that closers,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
well,
And those, so
that stuff.
I'm pretty
they
sure
were still
that's-
Like
in
the
decent
handles
shape.
and the push
Because even
bar.
the
Yeah,
Miller door from
Yeah.
Sardis, he said those are in really good shape, so.
Yeah, he said they were good enough, and they weren't damaged any.
Well, those doors probably don't get used that much. We probably use them more than,
I would think maybe for like their Bible school or
I have
something,
no
if they
idea.
have,
Yeah,
you know, large things to bring
It's a
into that
very
area for their Bible.
unfortunate thing to happen to some old doors that were gonna need to be replaced anyway.
And they had mentioned it's like they're double doors, but they're not separate, it's one whole frame
Yeah.
that covers both.
Yeah.
So you can't just replace one door.
not much difference between the Westfall and
No,
DMD.
the Murray's does have a closer, right?
Mm-hmm.
For $800.
Yes.
I take it there, as near as anyone can tell, the existing closer was not damaged
No,
in that.
no.
So
Well, if we're
they
gonna-
just
if we're-
unbolted.
If we're gonna choose between these two, I would say we stay with the local guy, with Westfall.
I mean, there's someone in our county.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're definitely in our county.
Yeah, the
That's
one
what
in
I mean.
Sardis is in Monroe County.
Monroe and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And there's not much difference between the two.
No, that's why it's,
Now, for Westfall, were they gonna paint the new door?
I'm sorry,
Did they say they could paint it, the door?
they did not say it,
does it,
no. I'm aware of, I mean,
does it
Do
need?
they usually be painted?
The guy from Sardis was saying that when we were there.
yeah.
Well, what
He was
color are
asking
they?
something about the paint.
It's a brown door, just a brown outside door.
I think it was brown.
Well, you know what? I'm
You-
sorry, but the church could take care of that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see why they need painted.
I mean, he didn't have that on,
Usually they're-
listed on
They just
here.
don't want the color.
Sorry.
I think the church
It's
should
the
take care of that.
DMD.
That's
Oh, so
aesthetic.
just that-
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's our,
Because I mean,
his is part of the logo.
we didn't damage the door, it was more in the hinge, wasn't
Yeah.
it? And it didn't chip any paint that I noticed, there was a scrape, I
It was
saw
just a
that.
scrape was in, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, when it comes to paint, though, you're putting a new door on. So I mean, if
They're
you
getting
were,
a brand new door.
if it were raw metal, it'll be primed at a minimum,
Yes.
probably
Yes.
gray.
Sure,
And
yes.
then they.
Not say that's
And
probably
then you
what they
paint
want
it
to
whatever
do.
color you
Yeah.
wanna coordinate with.
so,
Which you
So we're
either do
looking
with
at
a
Westfall's?
sprayer or a roller.
Yeah.
Take a-
Where did we
Yeah.
leave things with Allison? In terms of her researching further.
I told her what Subco had told us, that it still was immunity. And she said, I mean, I can't remember.
I don't know
It was right
really
before
what
Christmas.
yeah.
Well, that just stinks.
Arguably, when you're immune, the church can't sue us.
Mhm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
That's what
That's
immunity
why,
means,
yeah,
tough.
tough luck.
So, I mean, how does that relate? I got
We're
that.
doing it because
does that
we're being gracious.
Oh, yeah, I got that too. Why isn't our insurance company picking, what are we paying premiums to an insurance company to
You're
cover?
paying for when there is liability, but
Well,
we're
that's a
not
liability.
liable because we're immune.
Another thing, we're not.
That goes
But
back to
we're
Jeff's
gracious,
Why
so.
are we paying, I said it's a catch-22.
Well, because
I
there,
just-
there are certain things that we would still be liable for.
Yeah, that go outside our
Yeah.
function.
Certainly-
See, we
certainly
were
not
conducting an
property
election
damage.
when this
Right.
happened.
So we were doing a government,
We're a government entity doing a proprietary, a government thing. We conduct elections. Ain't nobody else
It's a
doing
government
that.
function, right?
It's a
Yeah.
pure government
If
function.
you had gone out in the truck shopping for your groceries, even though it was on our time in our truck, we would be liable. That's, for example, because you weren't out doing something that
For the
you were
board.
supposed to be doing for the
Yeah.
job.
Right.
That's
So
what we
don't
pay
do that anytime, don't go grocery
You
shopping.
know, it's just a recommendation, but I don't see anybody doing any shopping.
Well,
If we
yeah,
don't
but-
need that insurance,
We're
let's
gonna
don't
do that
do it.
anyway.
Well, we
I
don't.
think we're
Right.
required to have
I
it.
think we're required that, it's the commissioners that pay it.
Oh, sure. Because there are specific things that'll be covered because you just get coverage for it.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
explains.
I know,
I'm convinced.
Let me tell
I
you,
know in
let me
Congress.
tell you, Chad, I get very upset with that in my business.
Yeah.
I bet you would, of course.
If one of our employees was out even on election day, drunk driving, for example, we are liable.
No, really?
If they, so that's why
give me
we pay
ideas.
for the
Yeah, don't give me
insurance.
ideas.
That's why we pay for the insurance,
Got it.
for those extraordinary things.
So, but individuals could sue us.
Only for things that we're not liable.
We're not, we're not, if we're immune, then no.
But I mean, obviously boards of elections get sued, all the time, so.
But mostly in
But voting
mandamus
associations
or
or
we're supposed
active-
to do something, we don't necessarily get sued because we're on a tort liability. They
Right.
want us to do something or not do
Or
something.
Okay.
related to
Yeah.
work.
Hmm.
All right, well, if these are the three choices, then I would make a motion that we go with Westfall because the price difference is not that much at all and they're our local contractor.
One question before we vote on that, Jed, did Steve say how quickly he could do that?
No, he did not. None of them actually said that they would give a target date that I'm aware of.
Well, the door's functioning now.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I mean, they can
functional. I'm-
close it, so
Yeah.
it's not damaging the inside
Yeah,
of the
so
building from
I'm sure they
weather.
want it done sooner rather than later, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
It is
well, the issue could
functioning.
be getting it, because I'm
They're all gonna have the
wondering
same
if
problem.
they may not have a big, call for these kind of doors, so they may have to be getting it from.
I'd say he does not
wholesale
have
or
that
something.
call. He'd have to
They don't
order.
have them tucked away in a garage somewhere,
Exactly.
And that's gonna be the case for all of them,
so,
but maybe.
but I agree, I think Westfall, they're folks we know.
I'll
So I
make a
have a
motion.
motion,
I make a motion that we accept the bid for Westfall Builders to fix the doors at the Nazarene Church.
Nazarene.
I will not second that because I already
I
made
see.
that.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say.
I didn't hear,
I
I
had to
didn't
cross out
hear you. I'll second the motion
Okay,
then.
then let's do it that
that's right, stand up. All right, now we've had a motion and second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, passes. All
way.
right.
Jen, can you
Oh, we got
go
mine.
ahead and let them know and then,
Yes, I will.
and let the first NAS know as well, and
I will.
that we will definitely, thank you very much. We appreciate your efforts.
Yes.
Thank you.
I would have been
Amen,
totally,
amen.
they could have bamboozled me. Could have put in a whole
Happy to
new
help.
room.
We might question that.
I watched for
Was there
drinking.
anything else you
Um,
wanted to do before we do talk about schools, like the statewide initiative petition?
Yeah, I mean, that was just,
We've
those were the,
discussed
yeah, we discussed that.
public records request.
We have gotten several of those lately. We actually just had one that came in this weekend.
Mhm.
I printed off one copy of it here, but it's someone, this was a Jim Regano, that is making a public records request for the full cast vote record report from the November 2020 election in Washington County.
2020?
Yeah, from the presidential.
Oh, president.
20, yeah. So he said this should include batch and tabulator information, which I'm not really sure what that means. So we might have to get some clarification.
What's this person's name?
Jim,
Jim McDonald?
I'm guessing that's how you say the last name.
Monroe County is getting these as well.
I believe, yeah, they
I
got the
talked
same
to
one.
Molly up there, so, there's one that we sent to the board of, or to the Secretary of State. It wanted to know about our
It was the
auditing of our
EAC.
machines.
Yeah, EAC certification.
Yeah, the EAC certification. So, I sent it up to the Secretary of State and I'm awaiting their response. I think that the girl that I sent it to, Emily Woosty, is who we typically have dealt with. Well, she has left the Secretary's office. So, I don't think that they've replaced her. Also, our cybersecurity person that we really liked
Yeah.
also has left the Secretary's office, so.
So we'll be getting a new cybersecurity liaison.
So, but anyways, they thought that they had already dealt with this issue and had a response that we would give out to them, so. But this is, we've gotten 3 in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, the other one, was for our EAP, which is election administration plans. They wanted those from 16, well, they wanted 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, but we don't do them on odd numbered years.
Right,
So I sent them the ones for 16, 18, and 20.
Right.
So, which I'm sure will probably be, since this is an even numbered year, we'll probably have to do one this year.
Mm-hmm.
But we just haven't gotten any directive to do that yet,
yeah, okay,
so,
that makes sense.
yeah, so that'll be an upcoming.
All right. Schools,
Okay, Stephanie Starcher emailed me back with Fort Fry. She said the small gym that we liked at Fort Fry, they have lunch in there. Some kids eat lunch
We
in there.
could have followed that, remember, by that
Yeah, see,
room off to
that
the right?
room. But she said if we use the high school gym, she could close, they could still have school if it was at Fort Fry.
yeah, at that point, they have no parking.
Exactly.
Whereas Waterford,
Waterford would have parking.
yes. Yes. So, we could still go out and look at Warren if we want to sometime. I do know, I told them I'd try to get back with them this week because they're doing their next year's schedule
Where,
within the next 2 weeks.
when we plan on using the old gym there, or have they said what?
At Warren,
Mhm.
we haven't, we didn't get a chance to look at it, so we haven't even thought about Warren yet.
I know, they mentioned before that building 6.
Yeah.
That's the old gym.
Yeah,
The only problem I see there is that we're gonna have to make sure there's no parking between the new building and the old building.
Mhm.
And that doesn't give us a lot of parking anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Valkyrie was fine, you know, and we looked, the high school gym, you guys weren't able to
No,
join us
we
there.
left it when we
But
get there.
Valkyrie, he took us to their old gym, which was a very old gym. And then we went to their current gym and he said that they could even close off, because it's connected to the school, but it's separate.
Right.
And they could still continue to have school and just limit parking, but that kind of limits us there a little bit too.
And they don't have a lot of parking.
Belper doesn't have a lot of parking.
That's reasonable, let's put it that way. I mean.
Yeah.
And Belper is actually,
particularly since they have a bond issue on the ballot. They're very interested in hosting us.
The only thing I noticed is I suspect they have parking around by that old building they're gonna demolish.
Yeah,
And that old gym that they don't use.
yeah. If they,
And so if.
But that's a-
If they
That's a
were to
long
mark out.
that's a
around that
long walk
building.
around.
No, I'm saying that if they told staff,
Staff and
students,
them to use
you
them,
have
yeah.
to, you're gonna
Yeah.
utilize that, then
Absolutely.
we could, it seems to me we would have as much parking or more than we currently have at the church. And we seem to have enough parking there to handle, what
And to
goes
be
on
honest, I
there.
mean, we were combining, because we're doing away with Porterfield. There is still plenty of room, I think, at the church to bring in Porterfield if we wanted to go.
Yeah, I mean, the church has enough space
Yeah.
to accommodate the others. The only other issue would be parking.
Mhm.
But I mean, I've never gone to Porterfield, no matter what the election was, where there were a ton of voters taking up a lot of the parking.
It's a large parking lot up there,
Yeah,
Because
they
it's
have
a
plenty of
huge parking lot, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying there aren't a lot of,
but they just don't have a really nice.
so I'm
Yeah, the
thinking
facility is
the
not-
church would probably
Conducive to
accommodate.
the parking lot.
Right, that's
The
great.
parking lot is huge, but it's a smaller church.
The advantage to the church in one sense is for Porterfield people, it's probably a mile and a half or better, a shorter distance.
Yeah.
Because you're able to come down, cut down, 339, whatever, that's what it is, and hang a left and drive over to the church or come down the 618 or whatever.
677.
And then drag and park
No,
there
618.
and drive through there. And it's pretty easy to get out both directions with the church. It's a fairly straight section, so they got good view as far as oncoming traffic. And so they have multiple ways to go. So in some respects, just location-wise, if we're adding Porterfield, we'd be helping those people to the tune of 3 or 4 miles, maybe, of less driving.
I think we measured 3 miles, and we just
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
at 3 miles.
My only other concern is still Lowell. They're just,
Oh, we haven't got the Lowell yet. Are we good, would we be good staying with Belpre to start with at the church? Knowing that potentially that we could go to this high school because it's clear they can close that gym off.
yeah,
And then we would be good to go with that gym. Again, if they can give us enough parking.
They didn't have a good handicap.
Yeah,
yeah.
flat as a pancake.
How
Yeah.
good.
And there's parking off to that side.
And there was parking off to the side,
Yeah.
which again, I would ask our poll workers
Yeah,
if they're considered the parking there for them to park and do a little bit of a walk around, because it's grass otherwise, not trees up through it
Yeah.
unless it's,
but there's steps on that side, whereas the front is flat.
but as far as the voter's concerned, it's very flat. And there was some handicap. And we could actually turn it, 'cause it was parallel parking handicap.
Mhm.
And given the size of the parking lot, you could make it angular, pull in. And it would be
And I
just
imagine at
fine.
the school, you'd have a lot of walkers probably in that neighborhood that would walk.
Well, I'm certain you're gonna have some folks that would just walk over to vote, et cetera. So I'm just saying that to me, the church still works. The high school works there. Warren, we haven't seen. Waterford perhaps is better than Fort Fry.
By
Except
far.
we now roll around to Lower Salem, Lowell. Now we're at your discussion.
Poor Lowell, I don't know. I can't see sending them to Lower Salem.
Yeah, I don't know if I like.
And even though it's just, what, a mile and a half farther than where they currently are. I mean, Waterford can take them all, I would think.
Oh, there's no doubt that
Yeah.
high school would accommodate everyone.
Yeah. Or the high school gym.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah. Salem, I'm comfortable with that, and having Aurelius and Liberty and Salem there. I think that can, there was plenty of outlets for
how
solar.
far is
gym.
Lowell from there? I know it is not a straight route.
531, but it's,
5:30, that's up 10 miles.
yeah,
How far is it to Beverly?
10 miles.
10 miles.
And 10
That's
miles
straight.
to here.
Yeah, I was gonna say Beverly is
Well,
more.
it's a wider road, but isn't that far?
I'm
Man, it seemed like it wasn't
yeah, but
that.
I'm 10 miles from Lowell.
Yeah.
And then 10 miles in here. Well, to downtown, I should say, to downtown. From here, I'm probably 8 miles. But, now we did like Lowell Gym, but again, the parking there, and if they have school, I can't see us being able to go to Lowell.
You talking about, say, Liberty School?
No, Lowell School,
Oh, Lowell School.
the elementary.
Oh, the Lowell gym would be far better than Paw.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it would, but I can't see asking
We do have sidewalk.
Aurelius to come all the way to Lowell, you know what I mean?
Well, the Liberty people,
Or the Liberty
I mean, we
people,
couldn't, I mean, that's way far
yeah,
for them.
because that's.
So where would we put the
I
Liberty?
mean, Marietta's quicker than, we probably would have them at the Salem Liberty School.
Same, yeah.
If we have, at the Salem Liberty School, if we could do, Salem.
Salem, Liberty, and Aurelius.
Aurelius, yeah, there.
So you're talking about having the Salem Liberty School and the Lowell Elementary?
Well, that's what she's asking. Yeah.
I don't, if we're gonna take Porterfield away, I'm not forgiving Lowell back there.
Yeah,
What's that, Did?
Well, we're actually taking Porterfield away. I'm not for adding Lowell on.
Oh,
I mean, they would be a single
Yeah.
location. It would be
They're
only
angry,
Lowell
but
would be
they're
there.
driving.
Try to answer, campus maps are warm. This one too. For Lowell,
All right, so how far to Lower Salem from Lowell?
About 10 miles.
yeah, 10 miles as the crow flies.
Yeah, if you go with the right, yeah.
$8.4 months.
That's what I was looking from here, and it said it was,
Lowell and Salem.
Lowell, Ohio to Salem Liberty School.
Now, the other thing you could do
Say 8.5 there.
is we could use the Broughton complex and have Debola and Lowell go there.
Where does the Debola boat now?
Debola
Fairgrounds.
Fairgrounds. Mhm.
I think for Debola folks, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
one way
matter,
or the other.
I've never heard complaints from Debola, I don't know.
I
when
mean,
they
I
first
heard
did
a
it.
few from people, but
Mhm.
not anything,
I don't
not like
know
what
what
Lowell's doing, yeah.
Would we have to pay for the Barton complex?
Well, we give them $50 per precinct.
but will
It's what
George
we did
Broughton
all
accept
our
that?
I don't know.
Yeah, George doesn't give away.
He didn't give us much of a,
10.7.
he didn't give us a break at all. We started using it before.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think he would. He charges nonprofits also for
yeah,
events, so. Might give him a break, but it's not gonna be free.
no.
It's not gonna be 50 bucks.
Well, and the fairgrounds is quite
Yeah,
big too. I mean, heck, we can bring Roland in here.
Go to Little Salem.
Yeah, if we really wanna make them angry.
Around trip.
We can ask, do you wanna go to Waterford or do you wanna go to the fairgrounds?
Where?
Lowell.
She's being
I'm
continuous.
being facetious.
Well, again, it's 8.4 miles to the Lower Salem Elementary School. It's 10.7 miles if you're going to Waterford. So it's
Waterford's
the
an
same
easier
means a
drive.
total of
Yeah.
4 miles and change if you send them to Lower Salem. Folks in Lowell and the surrounding area.
Mhm.
Then again, for some folks, it would be shorter because
Well, yeah, depending on where you are.
Salem could be closer to, Lower Salem. For lack of a better way of putting it.
But it is an easier drive.
It's a smoother drive.
And there's other things there, like you might go to the grocery store, you might go to IGA or go out to eat.
That's-
Well,
that's
they
what
do
the
that,
benefits
yeah.
too.
Yeah, after when you go vote, you might wanna go shopping or something, whatever.
That is
Vote shop, vote shop.
Yeah.
We could have a,
Go to the
work with the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
and-
Cornerstone for lunch after you
I mean,
go.
if you're going out, I guess there's a few things in Lower Salem, not as much, but I know
A bank. I don't think the general store's in Salem.
it may not be. There's there's not even any.
Again,
I guess it's not
the
an
issue with Lower Salem, we haven't had any discussion with the superintendent.
Yeah.
But there would be need of a repair of the sidewalk
Yeah.
to the asphalt.
Mhm. And again,
Waterford is such a nice facility too.
Waterford's was very nice.
Oh, Waterford's an
Such a nice
outstanding facility, and certainly they were very gracious
Mhm.
when we were there, and it sounded like they'd be very accommodating, and we wouldn't really be doing, it looked like we had a good fit as far as what we could do and how we could put our stuff out there that
And not
would
interrupt
minimize.
The only one I know for sure that have already offered up closing is Frontier, which they would have to if we used Newmat and Newport Elementaries.
Right.
The others would close, that would be great, but. Let me talk with Stephanie and then I also need to call the superintendent, Mr. Newton at Warren, so we can reschedule that sometime.
Yeah, what we're sort of, and probably the sooner the better
Mhm.
and to that extent. So we're thinking Frontier, we're good with the 2 elementaries.
I think that's a good improvement.
Yeah.
Too.
I think then Marietta, we're gonna stay at the fairgrounds.
Mhm. I'm bringing KFC up
and
in there, and anybody within the city
And the
limits
Nazarene,
and the Nazarene into the fairgrounds.
right.
So there won't be but one location in Marietta City. So the Nazarene is moving, and that place can handle it, that's no
Oh,
doubt
that's what
about
I
it.
said, yeah, it's,
Yeah,
unless there's a flood.
well,
Well, the backup for the flood is the career center, right?
The Career Center or Washington, I think in our EAP, we might have had Washington State
Maybe. Or even if we could do Marietta High School.
or Marietta High School, yeah.
well, but we have to firm that up because
Mhm.
Right, with the,
come
Yeah.
May, we don't wanna have a flood and be floundering for calling
Yeah.
people saying, can we use what we have?
Where would, in Washington Career Center, where would, the Career Center, where would we, it seemed like.
In that cafeteria.
Right there in the hallway,
Mhm.
plenty of room in the hallway.
Well, I agree there, but we didn't, when we was there before, that's not where we voted, was it? It was down that hallway in
We,
Rose.
we went to classrooms down the hallway,
Yeah,
but at that point, we were precincts.
yeah, that's true.
So we had to separate because you couldn't have you had to go to your place to
Right.
sign in. Cause we had pull books, the
Well, if we
paper.
went to the career center, do they have the capacity to bring in all the extra precincts that we're talking about now? If we're closing down the first NAS and,
Be Pinehurst and
It
or
would
no, we
be,
wouldn't do Pinehurst.
we wouldn't do Pinehurst, it would be,
the first NAS,
we're not gonna keep the church at Pinehurst, are we?
plus,
We haven't talked about that.
yeah, we
yet.
closed Pinehurst.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're coming into Marietta.
No, they're coming to the Career Center.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, that's what I wouldn't,
We're talking backup
But
plan.
we are using the career center.
And now, in other words, if we could not use the fairgrounds, could everyone that has to go to the fairgrounds be accommodated at the career center?
I don't think so.
That's my question.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because if we're talking about firming up a backup plan,
Yeah,
and now we're closing First Naz and the Knights, we can't put everybody at the career center
no,
for the backup plan.
we'd have to use probably both buildings.
Probably have to use what?
Well,
Both buildings,
what-
the adult technical training center and the high school, if we did that.
Do they have a place in the adult?
There's a big, big meeting room in there.
Is there?
Yeah, I've gone to meetings in there.
Is there gonna be a traffic problem with the
Oh,
career
no,
center?
undoubtedly, there's a traffic problem with
Because
the
I think we
school that's
had a
out there.
traffic problem when we used to be up there.
And if they're in school, it's really gonna be difficult.
Yeah.
Well, if there's a flood, they won't probably be in school.
Well, that's actually my question for Marietta High School. If there is a flood that floods the fairgrounds, so I don't know what that height is with regard to side streets, Gilman,
Yeah, Gilman might
where
be
students are travel, would be trying to get to school. So would they be closed? So then the issue would be, could we, if we're using the high school, we'd have access to the gymnasium?
Do schools close for flooding?
Well, I'm saying we have to ask them, would they close?
Yeah, Frontier does.
I mean, Frontier closes for sure.
Yeah,
But I'm thinking that part of Marietta could be underwater, if you will. I mean, I'm just
Right, it might
thinking,
be,
is
some harbor
Gilman,
might be
is
underwater,
Gilman
yeah.
flooded?
Oh, yeah,
with the
floods are one of the first
fairgrounds?
so,
That's what
so the big flood, when was that, 97?
There was
Was the
one,
fairgrounds underwater?
Well, it was in 2004.
It wasn't for?
and I think that was kind of the biggest one.
Yeah, that was the biggest one since the,
Okay,
yeah, well, 04
Right, since
was
the last
probably the
one.
biggest,
yeah,
because, I mean, Front Street was
right,
underwater in parts. Gilman was.
My office
all
was
downtown
underwater.
was.
Our
was it
office,
really?
yeah.
It was just a
It was
really,
underwater.
You guys were too?
yeah. I was gonna say, I remember I went down, it was, around the
CBS
courthouse.
was an island,
Mm-hmm,
Rite Aid was an island back then. That's why they're all, up on dirt.
built up, yeah.
So
You can
my
always
question
move it up to the
is,
skating rink, I mean.
I mean,
ain't
look at
nobody
this wheelchair
skating
people
in
up there.
there. That's high ground.
Everybody get a good running jump.
We might have to take a rowboat to get to
We'll
it.
get some ropes and
Yeah,
hook them up.
no ropes.
Yeah.
the thing for me would be, does Washington State have a locale? I mean, I think.
They don't have a gym.
They don't have a
No,
gym, they
but
have
do
a
they-
cafeteria,
do they
but
have
it's wound around. Did you
No.
go in and clear to the back,
Yeah,
right?
it's not very, it's not in an exterior.
Yeah,
Their biggest problem
I mean,
for
their
me will
auditorium is
ultimately be parking,
flat.
because they have that, don't they have a parking garage or a parking area where they walk across?
Yeah.
Yes.
It depends on where we'd be, yeah. If
Yeah.
we're up at the top, there's tons
Does
of
the
parking.
library-
is there not a
Have
big
any-
room up
I haven't been
there
in their
top,
library.
where in the top parking lot,
Open
where they
spaces.
got it on?
So that one.
I don't think there's a big room
I
there
don't think there's a
either.
big room there.
Yeah, they don't have.
See, I'm not talking
Small
about something
auditorium.
that's gonna be a regular event. This
Yeah.
would be an
Right.
emergency
Yeah.
event where we'd say to them, if, because we sort of know about floods.
We have a
And
lot of
some
people to accommodate.
knowledge about, the fear of flooding and so forth. That we could contact them and say, are you going to be, able to give us enough space, whatever the entity
Yeah.
is.
Well, like she said, we update the EAP this year,
I think
so,
it'll be,
so we can certainly address
I'm
that.
thinking about. Maybe we could rent a giant tent and some generators.
Kroger parking lot,
Yeah, the Kmart.
or Kmart parking lot, yeah.
Well, I thought of
Couple
actually
different
the
parking lots,
Kmart
maybe.
facility, whoever owned it, if they let us go in.
Does it flood
we could
there?
set it up.
It didn't flood
The
out.
problem in the flooding there is Pike Street probably does flood.
Would,
Yeah.
you'd have to drive around.
So you'd have to get around it.
And the Armory, if it's flooding downtown, the
We
Armory
can't
would
use
be.
that, yeah.
Right, again, downtown, because I was thinking of Marietta College and their gathering place,
Yeah,
where if you could ask the students to park elsewhere, like over at
It's not that
football,
big, though.
you know, but that's probably got water.
Yeah,
So it's almost like you have to think of a place that's higher up on a hill or something. Because I had thought about going all the way out to Cardex. Whether that, you know, again, I just am not enough.
is there any,
people should be able to get there without.
Yeah, but there's
I mean, it's not
that, but
flooded.
Browns Road,
yeah,
Yeah,
that bridge, I just can't remember if that.
I don't remember if they get flooded, because I don't go out that way.
Yeah,
Hey, I don't think it should.
Brown's Road doesn't go underwater anyway.
well, not Browns,
I've never-
Well, the
the
bridge
bridge
there by it.
on the
But that's,
7th.
I think that's fine.
On Saturday,
Because that
there'd
runs
be a
right
little-
off,
little
that runs
Muskingum
right
Bridge there.
into the
Yeah,
river.
where it goes through.
I've never seen it on the little Muskingum Bridge, never,
I think it's okay, it would be okay, unless it's a really
yeah.
extraordinary.
But again, I was thinking to your notion of the 10, if Cardex, you know, if they didn't have the space, if they had the parking space, if we could have a tent
Yeah,
out there. I'm just looking for, you know,
No, what we're using Marino schools, but you're talking about bringing a lot of people from
but
Marietta.
yeah,
I was
Reno
gonna say,
would be
Reno,
good enough.
because the parking's somewhat limited there, it seems to be fine for who's at
It's fine for
Reno
what's
now.
there,
Yeah.
But
not.
if you bring them off of the city,
right.
Right,
And then you have the junior high up, I mean, clearly it's up on a hill, so it's gonna be dry.
where is there,
I mean, if we could get just up
Handicapped.
here.
But I don't know how you get in the
it's on the
gym.
side, okay, I didn't know.
Can you
'cause I-
get into the
'cause
gym?
there's
Do
steps
they have
up-
handicap access to
Around the
the
side,
On the
there's,
side.
you're going through some doors and then there's a ramp that goes like this, and that leads you into the gym.
Yeah. Again, it would have to be a time where there's nobody there. In other words, school's out,
Mhm.
and we'd be utilizing it to
Which they probably
maximize parking.
close, since some of, you know, their students would be.
They also have a cafeteria that's on the ground floor.
at the middle school,
Middle school.
really? I did not know
It may be something we should at least
that. Mhm.
take a look at in case because we're gonna have a ton of people now at one facility.
Right.
And if there's water, we gotta have a place for them.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, the gymnasium at the middle school is very large. Also, we've got the Eli Chapman, that gymnasium there is large.
Parking there would be.
We've got
Parking's
the
a
Boys
bear.
and Girls Club, which is out of the high water over on the west side. I mean, there's a lot of places around
Or
locally.
even Harmer School if they cleaned it. Is that part of the, they're not
That's,
touched down,
that's in the
Harmer, are they?
floodplain, Harmer School
That's-
is.
Harmer's in floodplain,
How about,
Yeah.
the Betsy Mills gym? Does-
Yeah,
yeah.
the issue on all these places,
Betsy
Yeah,
Mills,
how many roads
Betsy Mills, we know that.
if you can't go down Gilman, you know, you could have trouble getting to the Boys and Girls.
We also have the Catholic Church up on Fourth Street. They've got an enormous gym there.
Can we invite somebody at our next meeting who understands floods? Could describe, maybe the
where,
Buckeye Hills.
that's what I was
people,
just wondering.
Have them give us a
They have
description of if the fairgrounds is underwater, you know, various heights, et cetera, what else is,
Do we have somebody that's the official, now since we put up the flood meter thing, do we have? Wasn't there somebody that was our official
Take an
flood?
elevation reading of our own and we'd know.
I
Yeah,
was gonna say maybe. for
That's
the
not
engineer's
rocket
office.
science.
Yeah, I'm just looking for something that could show you a map where you could look at things and say, oh, well, then that's gonna be a problem, because you can't,
Mhm.
this part of the city.
Talk about
and
it.
Jason may be the person,
We might check with the engineers.
It hasn't flooded there, but it has done at River City,
Okay, it's got crossed down at River City before.
because it backs up there.
She was saying for, by Breland's Road, that Breland's Road itself will flood. But she said the bridge there by that on 7 hasn't flooded.
Has not,
That I,
you said
that I
up
can
by-
get to, I mean,
yeah.
but it has flooded down at River City.
Across the.
Across the road?
Mm-hmm. It backs up there.
Really?
Yep.
I remember doing that.
Well, and
That was
another
in the
place
big,
out
big
there,
floods.
again, it's in that same vicinity,
Yeah,
so if you're
that's what
flooding,
we're kinda
flooding there,
talking
keep
about, the
going.
big,
I heard the same
Yeah.
from when Gigi was out there at the
Yeah.
nursing home. I was like, oh yeah, the water's down. No. Where that bend is, where that,
We
there's a
need a
house that's
convention
there.
center.
It's
It's where,
We need a civic center or a convention center that has a great big
yeah, that's what we need.
place.
All right,
But yeah, so I will talk with the superintendents, tell them what we're thinking right now, and,
Do you wanna go ahead and lock in some of the ones that we've already agreed on?
Like
Well, we definitely know
Newport.
Newmat,
we have the two
Newport,
elementaries. Waterford,
Yes.
Waterford High School gym.
what are we gonna do with Belpre?
As I say, I think we can make it work there.
At the church?
Or well, if you wanna keep the church, that's fine, or we can
Well,
do the gym. And he can lock that door so people can only go in.
right. I was just looking at Porterfield, or, some of the folks that,
I'd say if we're going to, move Porterfield with the Belpre to get to the high school. There's more room.
Then at the church.
yeah,
The church is fine, except they must have the,
They
there must
do
be a food
yeah, they
pantry
do
or
a food
something, so
pantry.
there's always, if we had access to that entire room, we could fit all of Belbury and Porterfield in there. But there's always that corner that they have blocked off,
Front right corner.
yes, that we can't have access to, and I've been there at busy times, and it's
Pretty full.
It's kind of crazy, yeah.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna move Porterfield, we should get it to the high school.
I agree.
okay, so we got that.
Lower Salem, upon fixing some of those things, I still need to confirm if the gymnasium,
Let's hold off on
Well,
it
we're not-
until
We
we,
haven't decided on Lower Salem.
okay.
yeah, let's
okay,
hold off on that.
Okay. But I also have to determine whether, there's a Salem Liberty Association that takes care of the gym, and whether they take care of those things or for Fridays.
Yeah, well, yeah, something to, yeah.
So Newmat, Newport, Waterford, Belpre, Career Center,
For,
As a backup.
well, I was thinking for, like Churchtown,
Pinehurst.
Pinehurst, all of those
Churchtown.
people.
I was gonna say, which precincts are you talking about?
Yeah,
Here, I got it right here. Warren Northeast, Warren Northwest, and Warren South. 4,200 voters,
To the career center,
yeah.
but is it gonna be acceptable if they're in school?
That's what we, see, and they just switched,
They
I
have a new
think
superintendent now.
Dennis
Dennis is
retired,
retiring.
so I need to talk with
I don't think they're more strict on their schooling, aren't they, than a lot of the other schools that's at the career center?
well, I know Dennis wanted us.
yeah,
Oh, did he?
He did,
yeah.
but of course now there's a
Tony
new
Hoffman.
individual. So we probably need to,
Yeah,
I don't
Converse.
know about
Those areas,
the-
I don't think they can be
I'm
in
worried
school.
about the traffic up there.
yeah, I think they would have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk to, who is it,
Tony Hoffman.
it'd have to be a closed situation.
Yeah. Cause I know,
Because their parking it's a bit of a walk.
Yeah,
cause Jeff had called me and, Jeff Ingram, and he didn't think the career center would be a good. He saw where we were thinking about that. I mean, I know he is not involved anymore, but yeah,
He likes to put his 2 cents in,
yeah.
which is good.
That's all
I
right.
mean,
He's got a lot of institutional knowledge,
Yeah.
so that's fine.
All right, if
You should be on that
it's
institution.
3 Warren precincts, northwest, northeast, and
South,
and south, and what else?
that's all.
That's all.
That's at Pinehurst. But we would probably, because who's at the, let's see, who's at the KFC. We bring them here.
All
Yeah,
right,
Marietta
question.
4A, 4B, Marietta West, Muskingum West, and Marietta West.
All right, what's the reasoning behind moving the Warren ones to the career center when they're all 3 there at the Pinehurst Church?
Pinehurst isn't that ideal either. That's where the lady fell. Of course, she fell out of the chair, but.
I was gonna say that
I
really have to do
mean,
with the
that's not
building,
going to have
but
to do with the facility, but.
actually,
she could fall off a chair anywhere.
it
but-
served us pretty well.
That's what I think. I mean, especially if the career center has to be closed for us to do it. And there's, like you said, or someone said, that parking there is a pretty good walk. There, you can't park right there at the door.
No,
Well,
right.
Yeah,
We'd have to
676.
create handicap at some point, sort of probably parallel parked off to one side and so forth for folks.
I've never really heard anybody complain about Pinehurst.
no,
I just think in reference to the career center and Pinehurst, I'd rather stay at the
You
Pinehurst
like
Church.
Pinehurst, don't you?
I'm sorry, no,
You
I've
okay
never heard
with
anybody
that?
complain.
mhm.
And the pastor who we last talked with was very accommodating.
Oh, yeah.
Because you remember, he opened up the entire church if we wanted to, during that COVID, remember, walk
Yeah.
through his church and come out the far door.
Yeah.
So he was very.
Warren
you know,
Elementary
they
is
were
already
very
torn down,
accommodating.
isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, that'd been the ideal place.
I know.
Well, it's torn down.
If the township had not tore those buildings down, that would have been the place we should.
That's where, well, I think I voted there once when I lived out that way, or did I vote I voted in the fire department.
And so
You said the precinct used to be in the basement of the church, of the school.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
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 We've had 2 or 3 places here.
Okay,
Okay, so
well, I will talk to all them, but yeah, if you're comfortable with Pinehurst, it's fine. I just thought, we were trying to
Get away from the churches.
get away from the churches and the schools, or go into the schools, but if we can't.
Well, I agree with you, except I think the pluses, minuses, the pluses are more towards Pinehurst Church.
Well, I know, I talked with the voting location manager there, Randy Stokes,
Stokes.
and he said, when we were talking about that, he goes, you're gonna make all of us at Pinehurst go clear to Warren schools to vote now?
That
I'm
ain't
like, well,
very
it's in
far.
your school district, it is your school district.
That ain't very far
And I'm
either.
like, he said, well, he goes, what about the career center? At least, we could go there, so.
Actually, I think the school is not any further from the drive, certain, depending on where you're looking, than the career center.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think the school would be better.
6 miles from where I live, it's 6 miles to the school. And it's over 6 miles and it's not a straight shot to get to the career center.
You have to go over Cole Kaufman
Yeah,
or one,
yeah,
Warren
Yeah, I
Chapel.
think that would be worse.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
but I like I said, the church better.
Okay,
At Pinehurst,
Mhm.
talking about.
yeah.
I mean, we did a one-time vote in the fire department there at Warren,
Mhm.
and we do have a Warren school available.
The fire department,
Warren
the fire department room is really good,
Warren School was
except
gone.
new parking.
The
They
parking
tore it
lot.
down.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was big enough for all 3.
Yeah, it would have been, it just
Would have
had,
been.
yeah, oh yeah, it's probably bigger than Pinehurst building where we are.
The
It
Warren
just, it just,
School.
the
Or no, the fire department.
fire department, just,
And a large meeting room, very large, accommodated everything, but the parking was just
Terrible.
difficult.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, people were traipsing a lot of time in a lot of gravel when there was a large number of folks.
Well, the church is good. I've heard nobody complain about the church.
So the church has got a parking lot, smooth as could be. I mean, the only haggle is when you're trying to leave or enter. There's a kind of a tight spot.
That is-
But I think most people are used to it. They understand. They don't go flying around either direction. And again, certainly we seem to have, we have a
They like us.
friendly landlord, for lack of a better way of putting it. So we're only voting on our two elementaries, right? Our Watertown, Waterford, sorry.
High school gym or
And,
elementary.
The Belgrade High School.
And Belpre High School, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
And consolidating everyone in Marietta to,
To the fairgrounds, yeah. All right, so I think we probably need a motion to be doing that.
Well, I'll make a motion that we move the precincts to Waterford High School, to the New Matamoros and Newport Elementaries. Which ones have I forgotten?
Belgrade.
Belpre, and move all of the precincts in Belpre to the Belpre High School and Porterfield. And everything in Marietta City is going to be at the fairgrounds. Did I miss anything?
I'll second that.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion?
Marietta City of Nevola, Muskingum.
Well, they already voted at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, they are, oh, that's right, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, I'm sorry.
Change there.
And so we're clear, the Waterford right now is going to replace
St.
Watertown
Bernard's. Watertown and St. Bernard's,
and St. Bernard's at this time.
yes.
And then we'll have further discussions. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we understand that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes. All right.
I gave you a schedule of the conference. Opening ceremonies are 10:30 on Thursday. We do have rooms on Wednesday night.
Right. Fascinating.
So I'm assuming,
We're
We
in group
are-
6, correct?
are we medium or are we small counties?
We're group 6.
We're group 6,
Medium.
which is a medium, because we're 30,000 to 100,000.
Okay.
Well, we're 6, right? And
Yes.
you folks are what, 3? Medium counties for
Yeah, for
director,
directors
deputy.
and,
All county clerks are 7.
yep.
Anybody been told what kind, what are we, whoa, wait a minute here. This is a different world on Friday. We have a general session, then there's that's till 10:15, right? No, then 10:15 to 10:30 is a general session.
Another one,
Yeah, it was other
different,
students.
different.
And then at that point, there's lunch.
Or you could even leave before.
Then there's a
There's a
general
general session
section
at
till 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The one thing I don't see here, hours, points, whatever.
How much credit hours you get.
oh,
I
we
don't
got
think I
something
saw
on
it.
that, didn't we?
Charlie, are you gonna be good if we had to stay that long?
I'm riding with you, so whenever you decide to leave, I'm leaving.
We could ask someone, see how many credit hours.
That'd be nice. Charlie and I'd like to know that.
I thought we got an email.
I'm here to tell you, in the past, I went down for the morning session on Friday.
Oh,
But I
I
don't know
brought
if it
my
said for
luggage.
conference how many,
Where do you-
or maybe I
I
missed
brought my
it.
luggage on Friday morning to
Oh, to the
this meeting. And when it was done, as soon as they said they're now gonna vote on door prices or whatever, I took that as it's time to leave through the door.
Yeah. And,
That was my
And I usually take my luggage out to my car.
And I called for my car and they brought it to me and I gave them a little money and threw my bag in and disappeared
What time are we at again?
I thought it was downtown.
at a high rate of.
Downtown Hilton, didn't it?
Yeah.
So, different world.
you know,
Yeah, I'm surprised they're going that late on a Friday.
it has been,
They've never done that.
yeah, they hadn't done that before.
No.
Well, didn't it start more or less on Wednesday and you guys?
Yeah,
Well, yeah, your opening session was like at 1, 2 o'clock or
On
whatever, it ran to
Wednesday, yeah.
4 or
Yeah.
something, then you had a breakout to go to your political party.
Mhm. That's all
What's
we're
them doing?
Thursday.
I was gonna say, I think that's, yeah, Thursday, connecting with your parties.
It's now Thursday.
Yeah.
Because they usually get that room.
And then there's the president's reception on Thursday from 8 to 11.
Yeah, Thursday.
There's one, yeah, here on Thursday, No Inc., I think wants us to go to the,
Vendor
well, they have it,
breakouts.
yeah, they have it as a session with them.
I'd like to talk to them.
From 4 to 5, vendor breakout, the poll book one. At least, I mean, I don't know if you guys would have to go to it, it depends on if you want to, but we should probably go to that,
What time's that, 4 to 5?
4 to 5.
Oh, that's just their little.
On the nerves, yeah, it's
Oh,
on
that'll
there.
work for me.
But they're supposed to talk about, I think, their new app update,
I'll end up having,
so,
I'll end up having,
for the poll books, so.
I'll be running.
We'll find out how quickly we have to update the Apple software or not update it or.
I want to find out why we took them to Reno and they were not showing Reno's.
Yeah, we gotta, well, that was more than one place,
That's, well, what they did with Franklin County too.
so, yeah. So we gotta
That was
figure out what's
annoying.
going on.
Well, Franklin County had the same problems we did.
Except it was a lot.
On a much bigger scale.
A lot worse.
Well, they didn't catch theirs, well,
They didn't catch
theirs was their absentee people didn't update. Their absentee voters. Ours was, just didn't have the right
Just
location
didn't have the right
altogether.
location on it.
Which luckily, I mean, we caught ahead of time, but they didn't catch theirs.
Well, one of my things, when you guys deliver, turn on one machine and just see what it says, because that way
I
you at
think
least
we're
have
gonna
it
have more
Monday.
than I think we'll do all of them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Of the poll books.
Yeah, the poll books at least check all.
exactly. I think we're gonna have to turn them on, because at least if we catch it on Monday, that's better than catching it at 6.
On the opening
O'clock.
on Tuesday.
On a Tuesday morning,
Yeah.
AM. So,
So I'm going up possibly tomorrow night or Wednesday, because I have class, and then Mandy and Emily and Melissa are coming up sometime Wednesday.
yeah, which I'll need to talk to you about.
Yes,
So,
Yeah.
because my car's not gonna be able to make it to Columbus. It'll make it around here, but not
you
Columbus.
know, that's not good,
No,
no.
we think it'd be the Braves.
You'd mentioned that before, so.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so.
and everything's in your name, make sure you bring your confirmation, because they had some wonky things. I called up there and tried to look by name, they couldn't find, they canceled Glenn's and they couldn't find it by name. I think he did finally email me his confirmation number, so just in case, please take your confirmation list if you can.
Still on my computer.
You should have probably got into an email,
I didn't erase it.
That I didn't erase.
hopefully.
I don't erase
I
it.
thought,
I don't know where he's anything either, it may have been deleted, but that's, I deleted, it's like 10,000.
Oh, that probably got included.
You know how many times I go to my deleted email.
Wasn't there a thing that you can like register
Online.
online, or
Yeah.
like you're checking in?
You can do like an app.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
check
you
on
can
the
use
app.
your phone to, as your key if you. We have not heard anything as far as any safety precautions or anything. They haven't said that masks are
Required.
required, so.
Charlie, you good February 9?
For
For the next meeting.
No, I'm leaving for Florida January 17th. That's what I'm thinking. I'm glad you brought that up because,
Yeah, because we're not gonna
Have a forum.
have a quorum.
yeah, that's,
Did we ever figure out if you could participate via Zoom?
I don't think you can now. I think that ended with some of
We'll
the,
contact them and tell them the circumstances and see what they have to say.
yeah.
But that Charlie has to go play golf?
Well, that sounds good. Schedule.
Well, I mean, in the loss of another board member
You
though.
know for sure, are there deadlines where we have to approve petitions before March?
Yeah, let me go get my calendar.
I might start on a petition here.
Oh, yeah, we had the.
well, I may have to fly back in for the March meeting then.
When does your party meet? Have you talked to them about? when
We
do
meet
you
next
meet
Monday.
for- Well, it'd be
So we said nominations probably wouldn't be until February, so the earliest we could probably get anybody in.
Well, we can vote, I think, in February if we say that you have to have it in for a February vote, I think.
So we could take nominations next Tuesday or next Monday?
Well, I think you can nominate yourself by sending it to the chair
Okay.
that you're running.
Mm-hmm.
The chair could let everybody know and everyone know
Okay.
on when, on February
you could take additional nominations.
that you're
at the
coming,
meeting.
and then you can take them from the floor.
Okay. Okay. I'll call Lily.
And then you'd have a speech and a vote.
Discussion.
All on the same day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, it takes a while to get approved from the Secretary of State.
Well, I understand
Yours
that.
took
Yeah.
much longer than I thought it was gonna take.
February 14th, the board must certify any petitions or issues that we'd have.
Well, we have a bunch right now.
Right. And,
Petitions.
was it, which township turned in?
Oh, East,
West Muskingum, no,
East
East
Muskingum.
Muskingum Fire District turned in a levy too. So you'll have at least that.
I think Watertown's gonna put their road levy back on.
And New Mountain Morse had contacted us to see when theirs is up, so potentially,
So in any case, February 14th, 15th?
the 14th is the deadline.
All right, so would we have everything by February the 9th?
I mean.
Well, they have to have it to us by February
The
2nd.
2nd is when they have to turn them in,
Mhm.
but by the 14th, you have to certify it. So by the 9th, everything would be in.
I mean, I'm good on the 9th.
Well, it looks like me, I need to fly back.
Well, I think we ought to get in touch with
Mhm.
the powers that be before you get a ticket. See if we can't figure that out today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exigent circumstances.
I'll contact them after we're done.
Charlie's been planning this trip for months
Yeah, my wife has.
and,
More importantly, his wife has.
and we're not anticipating the retirement of one of our members, so
Yeah.
we could not plan for it. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and pencil in February 9th.
That's what I would do.
What's that?
Just so we don't,
Yeah, just lock in February 9th on the,
and then
the
we'll
hopes
see.
that you
Okay,
can zoom in or.
Well, I won't do anything until I hear from you.
I will let you know.
Because that at least, we're secure in being able to get our business done.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we don't make other
Yeah.
appointments.
And we won't have to make another trip or anything.
So, and we may, the expense report of the board, we'll try to have it ready by then too, because it has to be turned into the Secretary of State by, I think it was March 1st. So that way you guys can vote on it before we turn it in.
And that's from last year.
Yeah, it's for last year's expenses.
Right.
So we just have to go through
Just go through and put the
and,
numbers.
put the numbers in.
Anything else?
Piece of business under old business, I don't know if it came up. these old poll books can be converted to something useful. The pads themselves can be upgraded or downgraded as the case may be into a tablet that we can sell. What I'm afraid of is they're gonna lay back there on that wall like the voting booths did for 5 or 10 years. We're gonna kick them around, and then ultimately we'll wind up throwing them in a dumpster anyway. So my suggestion is, and I think I brought this up the last time, is that we pull the pads out and we upgrade the pads back to a Windows operating system, and then sell them out $50 a piece. At least we get something out of them.
We have to offer to other county agencies first.
Well, we need to get that done. Otherwise, we're going to do the same.
I know.
We're going down the same route.
Which I contacted Athens and I haven't heard back from them yet, so I need to try again and then.
Is there an email or
Nothing.
something that you can put the whole state?
Like something
Yeah.
that county wide,
Yeah, that's,
like Baltimore.
Mhm.
I would do that right now.
No, I can do that after we're done.
Okay.
And that way, we don't want to, we can go on and get doing something like Ted said.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Cause that'll give us some extra storage.
What happened to the exercise equipment?
Are we in a position to sell?
I
In
think
the other
after
part,
they've
yeah.
been offered.
I still have someone who.
We'll have to double check with
Yeah,
the,
well, I want to do all my
I'm just
offering
invited
before
too,
we
so.
upgrade them.
yeah.
Because we're liable to get hit
Well,
with,
what is
oh, we'll
there?
take 10 of
There's
them
a-
from
there's
the
a-
engineer.
The treadmill?
After we paid
Treadmill and
upgrade.
exercise
Right.
bike.
What'd you do with it?
Well,
Well, it's over in there.
I don't know if
we don't have to pay anything. All I gotta do is roll them back.
I went to.
Yeah.
Oh,
just
Why
take
don't
our
we just wanna
proprietary
take
card.
off the,
We've already paid for the operating system.
What'd you say?
I have someone who would.
it's just already on there.
Well, I'd take the treadmill. Get rid of that step
So we
right
just
I hate
take
it.
it off.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it sounds like we have a plan with regard to those. We need the space.
Mhm. Yes, we
Yeah,
do.
will help us with.
That's really one of the important issues is space. Particularly if we're gonna be voting in here, we need to make sure that anything that we'd otherwise wanna do in here, we can do back there. Okay,
Anything else?
and that it.
I can't think of anything. That's it.
Motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay.
So Wednesday, we'll be seeing the folks. Right.
And parking is there across the alley, but you can walk. You can take the stairs and then walk into the basement of their Hilton and then just take the first floor to the
Don't
lobby.
they have valet parking?
They have valet parking too, but
Yes.
I'm
Have we got anything dealt with Judy
I don't
Dickens?
have a problem, I valet.
If you recall, I had.
You didn't get my email. I'm not gonna be in town Wednesday.
Rat maze.
Oh, from that other one,
Was
yes,
that at the Hilton?
yes,
Right,
because that other garage is so
Okay,
much cheaper,
here's what,
and that's,
call her back right now.
it's
And
crazy.
tell her I can still be there at 11 o'clock if she wants to meet me at 11 o'clock today.
Usually I have to bring home death penalty boxes.
Nope.
I think all that's
Call her
gonna
and tell
happen is
her.
Thursday night, I'll probably
I
have
have
a
to
team meeting on one of my
If she
jet.
comes in on Wednesday, it has to be before noon because I have to leave
We
by
just got
noon.
appointed.
My meeting in Columbus.
In one of the cases I'm already involved in, I got appointed down in a state court.
So give her a call and say before noon,
Something, we
and
have
if she
to
wants to
hire a
come in
special,
at 11 o'clock today, that's
probably
fine
guy
too.
out of Atlanta.
Oh, my.
All right,
Fun and
All right,
games.
Denise,
I'm on my
we'll
way
see
back.
you Wednesday sometime. We'll just text if we're gonna meet somewhere for dinner or something.
Okay.
Wednesday,
what's that?
See you
When's that?
Wednesday.
Wednesday, if we wanna meet for dinner somewhere.
Drive safe.
No, I won't be
All
there.
right.
Take
You
care.
won't be there till
Yep,
Thursday?
you too.
No, I'll be there Wednesday night,
Oh, okay.
but Wednesday, I'm going to,
You're going, you're
Oh,
going
that's-
basketball, yeah.
So, yeah, let me find out from the Secretary of State if you can participate via